Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. This is episode 5 of the All Things Video Games podcast. And today we're going to talk about exciting console purchases. Because I recently got an Xbox One, the One S specifically. And so now I have all the consoles that are on the market. And I am, except for the Pro, who cares? just kidding, commenters. Just kidding, jeez. But anyway, I'm really impressed with the Xbox One S. It really surprised me. I had planned on getting one since they announced it, simply because I needed a 4K Blu-ray player, and it was far and away the best deal that was available, or still is, really, due to its price and value. The 4K Blu-ray players that were standalone players they cost around the same. So it was like, why the hell would I buy that when I can just get the Xbox, have the extra console to play more games on, and have the player too? So my thinking when my wife was nice enough to grab this for me on her way home from work, so it was like, my thinking was, oh, finally I can watch these 4K movies that I've accumulated and see how great my TV can really look, finally. And surprisingly, it's not those movies that I'm so impressed with. Like, they're nice, they're fine, but what impresses me is a lot of other stuff with this system. For one, it's small. I'll try to send you the picture of it so you can kind of show. It's very small. It's almost like putting two Wii's next to each other, and it's a little bit bigger than that, just a touch. That's damn small. Additionally, though, it's silent. Like, it is super quiet, which really surprised me because my PlayStation 4 gets louder than that. Not a lot louder. My PlayStation 4 is quieter than a lot of others I've heard, but still gets kind of loud. But the loading of the disk drive is so much quieter than the PlayStation 4's. I put the disc in, I'm like, wow, this is the way it's supposed to sound. It's on par with the Wii U in terms of having a drive that loads discs without making a bunch of racket. And my PS4 is not the quietest thing in the world when you put the disc in, so I don't know. Of course, I love the controller. Like, it reminds me that Microsoft knows how to make a good controller. 360s.
I agree, actually. I like the PS4 controller, but I kind of think the Xbox One controller might be better.
I have to say so. And we're going to cover that in a later video, so keep
Yeah,
watching, guys.
definitely subscribe if you haven't yet, so that you can get that update.
Yeah.
We're
And
gonna be
hit the little
talking
bell button.
controllers.
Hit the little bell button so you get notifications.
Yeah, definitely.
So, okay, the controller, it feels really good. I like it, and the S has a few notable changes that I didn't think would really matter to me, like beyond a few functions, but it feels good. The most notable thing is the textured back side of the controller to give it a little more grip. I didn't think that would actually really do anything for me, but it feels damn good.
Yeah, I don't have that with mine.
Yeah, they didn't come
'Cause
with that originally.
that is their update for the S, and I'm thinking I might buy one,
I
not the S, but the controller.
hmm
Um, but I do know that the shape and everything is the same,
Yeah,
and it just fits the hand perfect.
right.
It's
Now,
so
one thing
nice.
that the S controller adds that is awesome to me, anyway, because I can use it,
Bluetooth.
is Bluetooth. Right.
Yeah.
Which means I can just sync it up with my Steam Machine PC, and I'm good to go. I have a wireless controller right there. Will I do that? No, because I want it to stay synced to my Xbox One. But in the future, I may buy another Xbox One controller for that reason. Um, Now, beyond that, I of course went through. I'll cover the bad stuff after I get the good stuff out of the way. So, like, I started up, did the usual things, and then I started playing some games. Now I got the Gears of War 4 bundle with the 1 terabyte hard drive.
Nice.
Didn't get the red one, and I really didn't want to pay $400 and something for the red
Plus,
color and
it
stuff.
would kind of stick out in your
Yeah, I mean
entertainment
it
center
looks
there.
cool when you see it in a store, but it's not like when with all my red or my all my black and white consoles. Like, let's just stick with one of the two colors. I don't need a third. But anyway, I thought 1 terabyte was fine enough to start off with. So anyway, I got that. I got everything set up. I haven't been able to play Gears 4 yet. I've been waiting till I had a day off where I could sit and, dig into the story and stuff a little bit. But I did go ahead and try out the Gears of War remaster that my wife also grabbed when she was at the store. I've played Gears of War many, 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 many times.
Me too.
So it wasn't like new to me. Obviously the graphics are way better than they were on 360. Like, initially I didn't see it. Initially I was like, this looks a little better. But then I went on YouTube out of curiosity and watched a comparison video, and it's like, holy shit, man. They really overhauled those graphics a lot. But man, I was reminded how good that game is. That is a damn fine game still. Like,
Yeah. Now, I did pick up Gears of War 4 actually on Thanksgiving for the sales, and I played a little bit of it today, and it's a good game. The mechanics are great. I mean, it's Gears of War, and I'm a big fan of the series, but I've I went through, like, they kind of have like a couple of prologue stories before you hit up Act 1.
hmm,
I'm just not impressed with the graphics. I
really.
thought maybe it was the beta and alphas that I was in, several months ago. No, I don't know. I'm gonna definitely play through it and beat the game because I love the storylines in that. But
Well, I'm going to share a comment with you, or I'm going to just kind of hit on that subject that you're talking about after I get the good stuff out of the way. So we can go sour for a bit. Now, the next thing I did, because she also grabbed the Rare Replay collection for
oh,
me.
awesome! Yeah, I do need to get that.
So
Yeah.
it was like, hell yeah, this is one of the most anticipated collections I've ever had come across me. There's been a lot of good collections in, all of these years of gaming, but man, a bunch of rare games on one disc, like, holy shit, it's awesome. Now, the downside here, which is a occurring trend, is the games aren't actually there on the disc. Gonna talk about that later. So I didn't get to play it. My first day, I did not get to play that because of many reasons. However, several days later, all my downloads finished, and I had time to play again. It didn't take days. I didn't have time. That's the cost of working in retail during Thanksgiving and Black Friday. You don't have a lot of time to play games. But anyway, I ended up with the time to go ahead and try out the demo that I downloaded for Forza Horizon 3.
Which is fantastic.
Now, I want to preface this by saying I've never played a Forza Horizon game. I've played lots of Forza, but never any of the Horizons. I just didn't give a rat's ass about any of them. But this one at E3 looked damn good. It looked like a lot of fun. It looked gorgeous. So I had to try it. And, like, immediately, I was just like, this is a great looking game, for starters. But beyond that, it sounds great. Like, everything from the engine sounds to the music selection that they included, um, the presentation to me is just, it is perfect. Like, it is the way that you introduce like a console. Now I know this wasn't a launch title, but and maybe Forza Horizon 2 did this. I have no idea. That's why I had to preface by saying I never played a Horizon game. So maybe I just missed the boat and they've been redoing the same damn thing every game. But to me, it was exactly the way it should be, especially as a demo, because they nailed all the presentation stuff, graphics, sound, all that. They had this light, fun-hearted story going on that you don't really have to give a crap about, because, you know, it's all about the racing, but there's a reason why you're racing. Good enough. And what really struck me as surprising, but also just amazing, beyond the actual racing being amazing, was the way they introduced it all in the demo. That demo just, it nailed it. Now, I did the first race, and it was like, wow, this game feels really good. I remember why I like Forza games so much. This feels great. And then it asked me, you know, do you want to buy, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, not right now. I'll keep playing the demo. Well, then they're like, hey, there's this racer. You got to hunt him down and try to get him to join our team so that we can gain some more fans. So I was like, yeah, okay, I've done this before. You know, I played the crew plenty of times, whatever. And so I drive over there, and I'm coming up on the car. They're like, all right, challenge him to a race. I get up close enough to see his name. It was you.
Me?
Yeah. I saw a 3D animator. I'm like, what? I was like, there's no way he's playing right now. That doesn't make sense.
No, it's the Drivatar.
That is it. And I was like, man, they finally made really good use of the Drivatar stuff. And then, like, I did the race, and I lost the first one to your Drivatar. But then I, you know, kicked your ass a second time. And then I was just driving around. I started noticing that all these random cars I was coming across that were other people racing or whatever were also other friends on my friends list. And it hit me like, oh, I could be racing with all my friends right now in this big open world, doing all these crazy kinds of races with all these different kinds of cars. And that's when that moment, that brief moment, reminded me that, you know, this is why Microsoft created Xbox Live. And this is why the Xbox brand continues to thrive, because they have a way of reminding you that, like, yeah, you're paying for Xbox Live every year, but look what you get to do. And look at our games and all this stuff. And that got me thinking, like, certain consoles, even though you don't get them at launch all the time, when you finally do, the excitement can just be, like, out of this world. And this was one of those moments for me. So the Xbox One, as much as I like it, it's not perfect. There are a number of things that I feel could be like a million times better than they are, and I don't really have any idea how they would fix it, but here they are, okay? First of all, is the day I got it, I nearly didn't get to play a game. Now, my wife came home with it at 5, and due to the updates and installing of every single game, I barely got any time to play Gears of War Remastered, or Ultimate Edition, or whatever the hell it's called, because that was the first one that finished, and the only one that finished before I had to get to bed, which was about 10 o'clock. So it was like 5 hours of just kind of looking at it.
Yeah.
Not so good. That is, I gotta say, that was a moment where, more than ever before, I felt that physical media was just useless. Useless as all hell, because it didn't matter that I had the disc in this damn system, because it was going to install the whole damn thing onto my hard drive anyway.
Yeah,
and possibly
that is
download
kind of the thing that, like,
It's sad.
it is sad because I bought. You basically told me to buy it, so I bought it. Got me Zelda.
Yeah.
For Wii U. Popped it in this morning. Guess what? No downloads, no installs. It
Right.
just plays.
That's
So,
the Wii U does it so
uh,
well.
yeah. So, like, I had the same problem with my Xbox One.
Yeah, and I feel like it's even worse than the way it was with PS4. Like PS4,
No, PS4 is fast. I
like
don't know what the difference is or why it is different,
well,
but
I noticed that like yeah, every game had to update and whatnot with the PS4, but I didn't feel like I was patiently or trying to be patient waiting for the thing to become usable. Like the Xbox One, the games just took forever. And
yeah, no,
like
Gears of War 4. I put it in and played it, but I like today I put it in.
mhm,
I had to wait 3 hours
yeah.
before I could actually play it.
I had to wait at least that, but here's it's probably a slightly different thing. Cuz my connection is like 150-ish. So
Well,
it should
mine's
not be
a third of that.
yeah, it should not be that bad. But here's what I'm used to as somebody who has that kind of internet. I'm used to just, click download on a bunch of stuff and just let it go. And it finishes at a timely manner usually, whether it's Steam, Wii U, or even PS4 sometimes. And on here, it was like, I did that.
Molasses.
Yeah, and when I just put the discs in for the disc games I got, Gears of War and Rare Replay, because I knew they were going to start downloading and installing right away. Now, Rare Replay, that surprised me because all of a sudden, every damn game on the thing, aside from like the really small ones, like all the 360 games that are included, download. So it's multiple gigs each. And it's like, all of a sudden I had this freaking humongous queue list of shit that I had to download. And I'm just like, man. And then it finally finished like yesterday, and I'm like, I had time to play yesterday. And I'm like, man, what do I want to play now? I started it up, I'm just like, well, I guess I'll do some Battletoads. But anyway, that was a huge bummer. There was another thing I wanted to touch on that you kind of alluded to previously. You had mentioned that you started playing Gears of War 4, and you just
Yep.
really weren't very impressed with the graphics. Now, I can't say the same yet because I only played the remaster and the
The
Forza
remaster's gorgeous.
and the Forza Horizon demo. So like I've only seen good looking stuff so far, and so I can't say anything with game wise. However, I have 3 4K movies on Blu-ray that I watched, or I at least watched part of, because I just wanted to see like what can my TV do now. Like I don't know, man. Like it kind of made it pushed me to the point where like yeah, all the stuff I'm reading is right. This generation of display technology, it's not about 4K. Like 4K is good in circumstances, especially with like games. Like my Steam machine has done way more impressive stuff on that TV than what I saw with the Blu-ray movies, the 4K Blu-ray movies. They look better, but so marginally so. And this kind of led me to the conclusion that HDR is the real deal. HDR is what this generation of video is all about. And I have a feeling that's why you're not seeing what you were hoping for with the Gears 4, because
Yeah.
no HDR. And I can't help but think that that my Blu-rays are probably going to pop a lot more. And just for reference, I do want to point out, because I don't know if they're, I know some movies are going to look better in 4K than others. The ones I have that I tested were Deadpool, Batman vs Superman. I actually watched the whole thing of that. That most impressive of my three. And shit, what was the other one? Oh, Star Trek Beyond.
Okay.
Okay. Star Trek looked nice as well. I think that's more a cinematography, artistic thing though, because that movie looks pretty nice anyway. But like, it did not pop like I expected. Like, it wasn't like when I first saw a great looking Blu-ray, for example, where it's like, wow, this is fantastic. It was like, yeah, it's nice. And I think it's HDR related.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's the thing that bugs me though when it comes to Gears of War 4.
Mm-hmm.
They know that the majority of their install base, those Xbox Ones do not have HDR, which I think is kind of silly considering that PlayStation 4 now has it with a software update, but whatever.
My challenge to you is, and this is just based on what I've read, let's talk about this again after you've played like 3/4 of the game.
Yeah.
I've heard that the earlier sections are not very impressive, but once you get farther in, it's like way more realized.
I will definitely keep you updated on that, because this is a game I think that like, I'm gonna start streaming on Tuesdays, I believe, which, you know, I'll do an announcement video or whatever on that. But I think I might stream Gears, you know, because I was pretty competitive with the multiplayer back in the day. So I'd like to get back into it, and we'll see how it goes. But, you know, it's currently, I'm just not kind of feeling the visuals. There's a lot that I've seen so far that are like, the 360 did it better. What the hell's the problem? Now, the modeling, the 3D modeling's fantastic, but just some of the texturing is just horrible. Like, they're lacking normal maps. The details of the skin, the hair looks like poop. I've seen better games, especially out now. I mean, like, maybe I'm being.
So what do you think of the demos that were shown previously? The trailers and the various gameplay demos and stuff. Did those impress you graphically?
Yeah, they did.
They did. So that means there must be something here.
We'll find out. They could be later on, but now I will say, in the prologue, couple of areas where you play before Act 1, there's some very nice effects. But it doesn't balance. It's like, actually, you could say, Retro Studios, you know, had said it in the past, you know, when I was kind of doing an art test with them, that make sure everything is to scale, you know, and so far what I'm seeing here, that's not the case. And what I mean is, you're going through and you get to a door and the texture is nice and crisp, but then you look at the ground and it's blurry as shit.
Weird.
That doesn't work. It needs to be crisp, you know. And if the ground is, you don't have enough resolution there, well, then you got to repeat it some, you know, as a repeated texture in order to get it that way. But
interesting.
With this, I don't know that that's the case, because I do believe that they're using the physically based rendering. So they're using like Substance Designer or Substance Painter, with various applications that you're probably not familiar with. But it's essentially what it is procedural texturing, and it's all like math generated. very awesome stuff, by the way, but it shouldn't be blurry.
Yeah.
I have a very big issue with
Well,
it.
let's just do an update on this after you've played
I'll
it a bit.
I'll play through it more, and
I'll probably get through some as well by the time
hell,
we
you know,
update
we're gonna
on.
have to play together because since now you have it,
I don't have Xbox
and
Live, friend, so
what the hell? Why?
I don't pay for online, man. I'm a
Here,
rebel. Fuck that shit.
here, I give you 14 days for free.
Yeah,
14
I
days. I
got
was gonna.
that. I got that with my Xbox.
Okay, well, you're gonna do that, and we're gonna stream together.
Um, one
Play some few.
last, one last thing I wanted to mention. I think I forgot what it was. Well, it must not be that bad, guys. Xbox One, great.
All right, I'll tell you what, and I bet you this is what it was.
Oh, multiple downloads. Why the hell
Oh,
can't I download more than one thing at a time? I have the bandwidth.
I guess I
What?
don't know.
What?
I thought you could, but
Not that I
okay.
could see. No.
Well, maybe it's a queue, but I don't know. I thought the 360 did it.
I don't know. I never pay attention. But
Well,
either way, I don't understand that. So.
there is one thing, and I'm surprised you haven't mentioned it. For me, that is just awful.
Oh yeah, I
And,
know.
and
This is the last thing. Sorry, guys watching and gals.
I know
This is the worst feature.
some people probably love it to death, but I know for a
No,
fact
no, they're
I don't
just
know.
they are
I don't know.
on weird medications and stuff if
It
they
could
think it's
be,
good.
but that user interface is god awful.
It is. This.
Now, I have some other
Oh,
friends
it's so bad.
that I game with from time to time. Sometimes I'll stream with them, and we all agree it's a big puke fest. And
It's so bad.
just you know what? It started on the 360 when they went to that Metro interface. I hated it. Oh my God, it was so bad. And then they had to put in advertisements, and it's like,
So
I'm this is dumb. I'm not. Why are you? I'm not a billboard. You know, I don't
yeah.
need you to be putting for sale
So
shit on here.
prior to me buying an Xbox One, the only time I saw the dashboard was when there was a Microsoft rep in like a mall demoing the Xbox One when it first came out, and he had like Killer Instinct and like Forza whatever was out at the time, and so I got to see the dashboard briefly while he switched games, and it didn't strike me as like bad. It reminded me of the what 360 had, which is the Metro thing even now.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not the best interface I've ever seen, but okay. And then I started seeing all these complaints about how terrible it is, and I was just like, it's like, well, I mean, it's not great, but I don't know if I'd call it terrible. And then I got the Xbox One S, and it's like, what the fuck are they thinking? This makes no sense. Why do I even need a fucking community tab right on the main page? Why don't I have games front and center? Why don't I have like my apps front and center where I can access them without digging?
You know, it's
You
interesting.
know,
Here they are bringing out the Xbox One S. Very beautiful looking machine.
mm-hmm.
The design of it is fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really
Now, their Surface line of computers, awesome. The design aspect is so cool,
good.
especially that new big screen one. Windows 10, huge improvement over
As-
Windows 8,
and
right?
aesthetically pleasing to
Yeah.
me.
Now
I like
it's
it.
there are some quirks still, in my opinion, but for
When
the
you learn
most
it,
part,
it's pretty good.
yeah, for the most part, it works out
Yeah.
quite well. Then you have Xbox One's OS, and it's garbage.
Yeah, what the fuck
I
happened
I
there?
don't.
So he fell
Someone
asleep on the
sneezed.
keyboard and it worked.
Someone sneezed, and it like went on the screen, and they're like, "Oh, that's a good design. I'm going to use it." I don't know. And you know what? For that matter, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the PS4 interface. I don't really care for that one either.
I hate that one as well.
I I I actually like because I got the 360 first, and then a few years later I bought the PS3, and I really like the cross media bar.
Yeah.
I had the PSP, so I kind of got used to the cross media bar with that too.
Hmm.
And I was kind of hoping that the PS4 would follow the suit, because it works. It's so good. Now the PS4 version is similar, and that's
Yeah.
fine. I like it a lot better than the Xbox, but God, that Xbox interface is so terrible.
It is, and this actually got me thinking. Like, user interfaces these days, like they've been going nothing but down since consoles started having them. Like the 360, the blades were nice. Then
I
when they
like
had
that. I liked them
then
a lot.
the new
The new
new
experience.
Xbox experience, that was a nice refresh. It looked much nicer
Yeah, and I
and it
kind of wish
worked
they would have
well.
kept it. They just then they went to Metro, and it's like, what are you
And
doing?
to me, the Metro it's less good than the second iteration, but it's not. To me, it wasn't like altogether terrible. I don't like that they pushed the games tab like four spaces down on the bar and stuff.
Or my big
But
problem is putting advertisements there. Don't be putting advertisements on my stuff.
it,
I didn't give you permission for that.
on one hand, I hate it because it's clutter, but at the same time, I can deal with it. However, it's just like they go from Metro, which is like, it works, it's there, to what they have now. Like, what was the line of thinking here? Really? And now, in Sony's case, the PS3's was kind of stoic. Like, it felt isolated. It worked well, it looked nice, and it responded quick and snappy, which is one of my favorite things about it. And like the cross media bar, it made sense. Like once you learned it the first time around, it was like, okay, I understand why videos are here and why games are here and why music is here. It's
Yeah.
like everything made sense. And then they go from that, which made a lot of sense but just lacked the it just felt too isolated, lacked the social feeling of Xbox Live, to what they have on PS4, which is like a fucking mess. Like I can't like have nothing is organized on that main screen. I don't care what anybody says.
No,
It's
it's
not
not.
organized one bit.
They did fix it a little bit with the last update, but it's I don't know.
The
It's
only
still
semblance of organization on the PS4's dashboard is when you hit up and you go to the cross media bar, because it's a cross media bar that makes sense again.
yeah.
In the most ironic fucking thing, I'm swearing a lot, but I'm passionate. I'm passionate. Damn it. So the most ironic thing here is that Nintendo has made steady positive improvements since the Wii to the Wii U. Like, it's
Yeah.
gotten better. It makes more sense. And it's like, yet I know their online interface is lacking, but it's like you went from the channel system on the Wii, where you had each game, each application, each
Which I
everything,
actually like
one
that.
little box. Okay, nice and simple. That's one of the beauties of that system, is its simplicity. And they take that and they go to the Wii U. What do? Now that it has a touch interface, they continue that kind of channel idea, but make it so that you can have more items on the screen. You can place things into folders. You can move it around just like you could on the Wii, but Wii didn't have folders. And then, like, your external storage is not on a separate window like it was on the Wii. It's all in one place, which is why I never have to think about the fact that I have a hard drive connected to the Wii U, because it all looks the same. And then, like, they have the little almost cross media bar like menu at the bottom where you can get to the eShop and Miiverse and whatever. And it's like, that makes so much sense. It's so easy. But then the other two, they're selling way more consoles, They can't get it right for shit. Like, they can't get a damn thing right. Like, what is going on, guys? Who is designing this stuff? Like, hire somebody.
And you know what? The funny thing too is that Microsoft is a software company.
Right? They should know.
It doesn't make sense to me.
They should know better than anybody how to make user interfaces a basic core mechanic of all software. What's the deal? I don't get it. So anyway, this is way longer than I expected, but those are the things I didn't like about the Xbox One S, and I think that you agree with pretty much all of them. So,
yeah, I definitely do. And just to recap, because, God, it's like I love the system, but I also hate it.
I hate those things very much, but I do love everything else. Everything else is really great, and I'm super excited to have one because of this. Another perk for me as a PC gamer also is the Play Anywhere stuff. I'm not fond of the Windows Store on on Windows, but free versions of digital games, it's enticing me to go digital on some of these games.
I'm curious though, how does that work? Because like
it works wonderfully.
Well, okay, so like, do you have the physical version of Gears of War 4?
You can't have Play Anywhere with those. That's how they're trying to get you to switch.
So your version that you got with the system is a code.
Yes. So, and that's the thing that's getting me is it's like, because to me, digital on PC feels permanent. Digital on console, less so. Like my PS3 collection, I have a lot of digital ones. I think I have more physical, but I have a lot of digital stuff on there too. I'm worried that when they discontinue support for that system, that stuff is going to just disappear if I don't have it on a hard drive.
Yeah,
PC is a different story. PC is a different story. It doesn't go away so easy. It's easily archived. Windows Store is a different story altogether. But the way I look at it is Microsoft has proven to me that my digital purchases are mine by adding backwards compatibility to the Xbox One. Because a lot of my games from 360 are now on my Xbox One.
Yep.
And that shows me that they understand that my purchases matter to me. And now Sony, I can't say that. So like I don't know, and that bothers me a lot. So that's why PC kind of gets a pass, even though it's Windows Store, because I got the Xbox version, which I feel is more guaranteed than the Windows Store version. But because I will have it on the Windows Store and Windows 10 isn't going anywhere for a while, I'll be able to play that game better than my Xbox One can at like some point. I don't know if it can right now. I'm gonna actually test that out eventually. But it works well. Like, to better answer your question, it works well. Once you enter the code in on your system and the game starts downloading, it automatically shows up in your purchase content list on the Windows Store on Windows 10. It's already there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So all I have to do is click download on my computer and it's going to go. So that's awesome. I think they did that really, really, really well. And they are enticing me to go digital with some games. That said, there are some that are not part of the Play Anywhere program, like Gears of War Remastered. I'm not going to buy that digitally. I'd rather have the disc. What's the incentive to getting it digitally?
Yeah. I guess you could get Quantum Break, although
that's not Play Anywhere either. That's the thing. It isn't. And that really has me torn, because on one hand I know the Xbox will play it really well, but on the other hand I know eventually my PC will play it even better. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe wait until they go on sale and
get it on Xbox One now, so you can play it. and then 3 or 4 years later, when it's a $5 download,
Well, it's
you
probably gonna be
pick it up then.
$5 on. It's probably gonna be a $5 download on PC before it gets more affordable on Xbox. But whatever the case, Forza Horizon 3 is another one of those games. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna get the digital one. That way I can run it 4K 60 frames a second on my computer while playing it on the console too. And it transfers your saves between both systems. So like I could start playing on the Xbox, come over to the PC when they want to watch TV, and then keep playing.
Uh, I could see it, but
Um,
I'm just oh, I like the physical medium.
yeah, and that's really up in the air the way that Microsoft is treating those discs right now. You can tell that they built the Xbox to be a digital console only. You can really tell, even though they backtracked on that. You can really tell through
They're
the
pushing it. They're pushing it.
that and the instant download and install of everything you put in the drive. It's like
I'm gonna end up being a Nintendo only person because they're gonna be physical medium probably forever. So
probably I think eventually it'll come full circle, but we're in a
that's when
phase.
I retire from gaming.
We're in a phase where everybody seems to think digital only is going to be the future, and I'm not one of them people. I don't think so. In some cases, I think it'll be an option forever, but I don't think it's going to be the norm. So, I wanted to bring this to the attention of our community. Hopefully, get a few stories from them. But what about you? What was one console that you got that just like totally consumed you and it got you super excited?
Uh, I actually have two of them.
Let's just pick one for today. We gotta drip
Well,
drip feed our viewers here.
I'm gonna definitely pick the original Xbox,
Okay.
but the other one was the Dreamcast. However, due to the flow of games, the Dreamcast excitement kind of wasn't as big for me because like we got the system and a demo disc. We didn't have enough money to get a game. We had to use to play
I
demos
see. I was
and
gonna
stuff.
say that they had a damn good software flow.
Yeah, no, they did, but financials.
Yeah.
Now, when the Xbox came out, I actually, at the time, I had a summer job. I pre-ordered it. It was $300, so I actually had it paid off before the system came out.
Hmm.
And so then was still saving my money because I knew I needed games. And originally, I was planning on picking up 2 games and an extra controller. I ended up buying 5 games and an extra controller.
Wow.
I spent a lot of money on that system if you think about it.
That is a stark contrast to what I did with mine.
Yeah, so and I picked it up the day it came out. In fact, I went in early morning. It was at EB Games at the mall, over there in Port Huron. And
Name drop in.
hey, I don't live there anymore, but sure. Um, so like it was funny because the mall didn't open, I think, till 11, but EB Games was going to open up at 8 o'clock to dish out
Yeah.
people's systems. And I'm in line, and I had a brochure that they handed out, and I was like, "Yeah, I got to pick up my system, and I'm gonna buy, 2 games and a controller." And there was some of the people in line telling me what games they were buying, and one of them was Halo, and I didn't have that on my list, and
Really?
I was because I didn't know about it.
How are you
I
excited about this thing without Halo being in the equation?
uh, I honestly, well, Project Gotham Racing was like my number one
Did
at the time.
and did you play Metro Street Racer on the Dreamcast?
No,
No, and you're still excited. Wow, that's
yeah,
interesting.
because I was, I'm big into graphics, and Project Gotham Racing, even to this day, to me, still looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I was just so excited, to get that game, and then someone was telling me about Halo, and I'm like, really? All right, I'll have to get that too. And then when I came home, I opened up Halo first, and I was playing that, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. And my brother got home from school, and we ended up playing together, and we sat through and played from start to finish without stopping. And I believe we ended up skipping dinner that night. And my mom was like, what are you doing? We're playing games. Leave us alone." And so we ended up playing Halo from start to finish. And then we started playing multiplayer after that, just between the two of us at first. And then shortly after, a couple months or something, GameSpy Tunnel came out.
Yeah,
And
I remember that.
we were able to start playing people online. Now, at the time, we didn't have broadband. We only had dial-up, so that didn't matter. But we would go to a friend's house about an hour away, probably once a month or so, and we would bring the Xbox because he had one, and we'd
Mhm.
play Halo using GameSpy Tunnel with his cable connection, which back then I think it was like 3 megabits.
Yeah, yeah.
But we would play, and we kicked the shit out of everyone we would play against. And one team thought we were modding, and we're like, "How are we modding? It's a console." Now, obviously, a
Didn't
couple
know.
years later, it was something that people could
Yeah.
do, but that was like just some of the best experiences for a console. Like it just Halo was like the game changer for me. And the Xbox in general, um, I'll say that it actually killed PC gaming for me, mainly because you bought the system and you didn't have to worry about it. That was it. I didn't have to spend extra money on graphics cards every year or, whatever to get the best out of it. You just put your game in and you play.
Topic for another day,
Yeah, definitely.
especially
But
now. But
um,
yeah,
that's just I still kind of feel the same way about it, but it just depends.
the
Uh, let's see. I'm trying to remember all the games. Blood Wake, I bought that,
okay, yeah,
and
I remember that. The
that
boat
game
twisted
was
metal game, right?
yeah. And back then, I remember when your boat would explode, or if you shot an enemy, the water would have like big
Ripple.
waves.
Yeah,
I, I just was like, man, that's so cool.
yeah.
And there was some other games. I have them somewhere on the shelf. I don't really remember all of them, but
Yeah, I see them.
trying to remember which ones. Project Gotham Racing, Ninja Gaiden, I think was a launch title. Maybe not.
No, Dead or Alive 3
No,
was.
yeah, Dead or Alive 3. I'd picked that one up.
That was gorgeous as well.
Still is, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
Um, it runs in 480i, unfortunately, but
Still
um,
looks good.
still looks really good.
Uh,
And I remember playing the shit out of that game. In fact, I had a mutual friend of ours come over, and we were playing it. And that game made him essentially buy an Xbox for Dead or Alive 3. But see, that was actually one game I was looking forward to because of the Dreamcast, because I had Dead or Alive
mm-hmm.
2 for it, and I was really excited to get the third one, especially when only for Xbox. So I got that, and then over the years, just so many great games were coming out for it, and even to this day, like I'm seeing more and more out in the thrift shops and the used game stores. It's like, oh, I gotta
So,
pick this up.
so what game solidified Xbox as a favorite console for you?
Oh boy.
Which one was it where you were like, "This thing is fucking awesome," and that was
Um,
it?
there's too many of them, but I'll name a couple
The
games.
first one that made
Well,
you
Halo
get to
for
that
sure.
point.
Halo was just that, even that first day, bringing it home and playing it all day and all night. That was, and then actually that game enabled LAN parties for me and a bunch of
Yeah,
our friends.
yeah.
And
I was
I we
part of
used to
that
go
sometimes.
we used to go every weekend to someone's house,
Hmm.
bring in our TVs,
Yep.
and playing. And my brother and I, we would share my box for a while until I conned my parents to buy him one for Christmas. I said, don't spend as much on me, get him an Xbox, you know. And so definitely the Halo series. And there was a few others. The Project Gotham Racing series, because I'm big into racing. When Forza come out,
Hmm.
was pretty awesome. Although the original Forza wasn't as good as Gran Turismo, but it definitely got
I think it was
close.
better.
The original.
I do. Absolutely. That's where I turned over, turn sides. I
Well,
gave GT4 a chance right around the same time, and I was just like, nope, didn't like it.
well, I didn't have a PlayStation 2 at the time, so I had Forza and I was all about it. But over the years, I don't know. It's hard for me because I really like the Gran Turismo series. But one of the now this was a multi-plat, but growing up, my dad had an Intellivision, and I was gaming on that before the NES came out. You know, I was like 3 years old or whatever, but still, you know. And then this game right here, Intellivision Lives, come out on the Xbox, and I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. I had to pick it up, and we'll be talking about this game actually down the line, but just some of the multiplats that were coming out, and because they had better graphics.
They're
I mean,
always a touch better on Xbox.
whether it looked better, ran better, something, and I might be one of the few, but I really, really like the Duke, the original controller.
I do too. It was good. There were certain things that weren't so great, like the tiny black and white buttons. I don't think were
Yeah,
ideal, but I did like that controller. It was comfy, even though it was humongous.
yeah. Now I got giant mitts, so having the bigger controller was nice. I have a controller S somewhere here.
I have
I
like three
don't
or four of
I
them.
don't like where they put the white and the black
I
buttons.
adjusted.
You can't use it like for fighting. It wasn't.
Black
I
and
don't
white
know.
buttons didn't work for fighting games by a long shot. No,
Well, I don't know. I guess it depends. But
I never. I don't remember using them.
I I don't know. We might have to continue this conversation later
Yeah,
because I got a lot of games, and actually one other that I have that, in my opinion, competed with Gran Turismo and even Forza to a degree was Sega GT.
yes. Wow, I can't believe somebody
And
else played that.
yeah, no, I
I
played the
loved
shit out
that
of it
game.
back then. And actually, I might even do some streaming of that
It's
game or
funny.
something.
I played it on the Dreamcast, the first one on the Dreamcast, like a shit ton.
Yeah,
Like
me.
I tried to tell my other friends, like, man, look how much better the Dreamcast is than your PlayStation. Just look at this, and look at Gran Turismo, night and day.
A
No,
huge difference.
nobody was sold. Nobody was sold.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
don't
what you can
know.
do.
I,
Um,
I that it,
I don't have as much of a story with Xbox, but when you're wrapping up your side, I'm gonna tell mine because it's an interesting one.
well, I don't know. I mean, basically, I like the last part of it. Basically, for me, I remember before getting the system, a friend of ours, we both went to community college together, and he was like, you're getting the GameCube, right? And I'm like, um, no, I'm getting the Xbox. He's like, what? Why aren't you getting the GameCube? You know, you had the N64. Why don't you? It's like, I'm
Hmm.
going with the one that has the beast processor and graphics and RAM. I mean, it's full on. It is the beast and it has a hard drive, and I mean the list would go on, and he just was shocked. So then I remember I
I'm
got
really
the
curious if
Xbox.
this is the same guy I'm thinking. That'd be
Initial
hilarious.
his initials are JC. We'll
Uh,
just go with that much.
okay, that's not who I was
You
thinking, but yeah, I get it. Okay, right.
so
GameCube, that
any
makes sense.
yeah, so he was a huge Nintendo fan at the time, and I remember he had us come over his place. I think actually it might have been um we might have had a like Christmas party or something. I don't really remember, but we go over there and I brought my Xbox because like you know what? He hasn't seen it. He
Yeah.
needs to see what this thing can do. You know, and I brought all my launch games that I bought, and I've shown him all the stuff, and he's like, "Man, this is awesome." And I'm like, "Show me what your thing can do. Your little tiny cube compared to my giant box full of power." Well, he showed me some games, and I was like, "Whoa." You know, I ended up buying a GameCube a few months
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
But he had Luigi's Mansion. I'm like, this is actually really nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and he had Rogue Squadron 2,
Yeah. That's
which
another one.
is yeah. So I don't want to, that's
We'll
not
save
Xbox
GameCube
anymore,
for
but
later.
yeah.
Um.
So that was kind of how back then, I'll call it the launch window of the Xbox.
Yeah.
Um, that was just kind of that, and then like it kind of Morrowind come out, and that was just another. All right, my life is gone for a couple months. When we didn't really have to have jobs during school time.
Yeah. So my Xbox story is very short for the most part, I think. Um. I might eat my words in a minute, but okay. I was following games as much then as I do now, and my number one game I was looking forward to on the Xbox was Halo. Like far and away, the screenshots and everything they talked about with it, I was like, man, this game is gonna be so good. And the hype was just, it was getting to me really bad because I was hearing so many good things, and I wasn't big on shooters. Honestly, like my whole group of friends was playing so many shooters on the N64 that I was burnt out by the time Xbox came out. I was like, I'm sick of shooters, so many. And it's it's funny because I ended up buying Halo way before I even got an Xbox. It just sat wrapped up. And I would look at it and be like, man, this is why I have to have an Xbox. And it kind of motivated me to save the money to get one. And I ended up getting my Xbox one day. I remember my grandma drove me to the store. Like I was doing something, helping her with something, so she stopped at a Best Buy for me. So I could run in and grab it on the way home. And I was like so excited. I got it home and I started playing Halo and I was like, yeah, this is great, this is great. And I was all by myself this whole time. Well, then I had a friend of mine. He's like, you finally got an Xbox? And he was all excited. And he's like, dude, you gotta see this game. You gotta see this game. So I went over to his house, and him and his brother were just like gushing over Morrowind, like
Mm,
insanely. And I was like, I was looking at it like, man, there's some ugly ass characters.
yeah.
That was one of my first thoughts. Was, man, these characters are ugly as shit. And but like they were showing me like, oh, look at all this you can do. Like you can literally do whatever you want. And it was starting to really impress me. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And later that day, we went to the store and just name drop again in Port Huron. And I was looking at Xbox games, and I was like, I was trying to decide if I wanted to get one or not, and I don't even remember what I bought. I picked something. I can't remember for the life of me what it was. And I have no idea, honestly. And I was ready to go. I told my friend, I was like, all right, this is it. So we can get out of here. He's like, you're not going to get Morrowind? I'm like, nah, I don't know if I'd really get into it. He's like, dude, fuck that. You have to get this. And that was literally his words. Dude, fuck that. I was like, I can't do it, man. I can only get one game. He's like, fine. He grabbed it. This was before they were always locked up in cases. And he bought it. And he's like, here, you have it now. Play it.
Oh my god.
And I went home after that, and I started playing. Games. I don't remember the second game. To this day, I don't remember what the fuck it was. I might not even have it anymore. I don't know. But I went home, and I swear, like, that was the game where I was like, holy shit, I fucking love the Xbox. Because the next thing I know, it's like 7 in the morning, and I'm still playing, and like I gotta go to sleep. The sun's coming up. Shit. And it's like, oh, just one more thing. And this is one of the first games where it was like, I kept telling myself, all right, I'm just gonna do this really quick, then I'll go to bed. The next thing I know, it's like 10. I'm like, shit. Okay, I gotta finish this, and I'm going to bed. It's like 12:30. It's like, okay, off. And it's like, that was probably the first game that ever did that to me. And at that point, I was like, man, like, every time people would start talking about Xbox, they'd go to Halo. I was like, yeah, but that Morrowind, man, holy shit. And there was a mutual friend of ours, who was so anti-Xbox. You wouldn't know it today, because he's so pro-Xbox. It's ridiculous. But MG, he he just bashed me so bad for getting an Xbox. Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do know.
he gave me a bunch of shit for getting a Dreamcast too. This is how he did it. He always just would antagonize everything. So, like, he gave me so much shit. Why'd you get an Xbox? Why'd you get an Xbox, man? Why, when you get a PlayStation 2 or a GameCube, why would you get an Xbox? And I was just like, it's like, dude, play Morrowind, and let's talk. Like, I would not argue with him on this. And he came over one day. I popped it in, started a new game for him. Thanks to that hard drive, we could have multiple character saves going. And, like, I didn't get to play my fucking Xbox for days. It felt like he didn't leave. He just kept going. It's like, okay, I want to play, man. And, no, it wasn't happening. And next thing I know, he's buying an Xbox. And the rest is history, because now he's pretty much the definition of an Xbox fanboy at this point. Kind of hilarious, but that's my story.
I don't think he's purchased any other console.
I don't think so, but it's hilarious.
Him and the other friend I was talking about.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. But the funny thing is that whole little group, I kind of took Morrowind on tour with everybody. And they ended up buying an Xbox shortly after.
Well,
it's hilarious.
You know, the Morrowind thing. A friend of mine that we used to go over and play Halo with, using the GameSpy tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
I had brought Morrowind over, and he got hooked.
Yeah.
And to the point where he borrowed my disc for like a month. And then when I got it back, he's like, dude, I bought it for PC.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why'd you buy it for PC? So I got it for Xbox too. And I'm like, why would you have it for both? And he's like, because with PC you can do mods.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And he was telling me all these stuff. He gave me the websites and everything, and like, you could essentially, really, you could create your character in a text file, and like then go play, and you were like God.
Yeah.
And all this stuff, and then like your money and all these different things, and then the when the expansions came out, like it just made things even bigger, and then the modding was bigger, and then like even today you could install like graphic mods and stuff, and he was
Yeah.
so big into that, and that's why he had it for both. But
Hmm.
he would he would max out a character on the Xbox and then go play on PC for a while and max out a character and then mod it and whatever and then go back to
Yeah.
Xbox and create a new character, and it was
I
crazy. And
ended up
then
buying that game on PC as well. Like more recent. It was probably about 5 years ago. I bought it on PC, but
actually saw recently that they have uh, 1 through 5 in a PC collector's set you can purchase for like $60.
yeah. There's also, let's talk about mods another time. Let's not go down that path because that's too far off topic.
Yeah.
Any other game console launch stories we want to discuss right now?
You know, I know I've already talked about my Wii experience, so I don't think I'll put
No.
that in here, but
I am planning on doing an article on what makes a launch special. Um, we'll try to post these together. So I am hoping to do that soon. I just thought
you
this would
know,
be a good opportunity to share some stories.
the 360 for me, there's a pretty decent story for that. Not very long because I didn't have a whole lot of money for that, but it was like I had come back from college at Full Sail actually, and I I knew it was coming out, so I had saved money for it, and I went out and bought it. You know, I didn't have to pre-order it or anything,
Mm-hmm.
um, which actually is kind of lucky because they did have shortages. But I went to EB Games and just went in and picked it up and picked up a couple games. But I didn't really care about the games because I knew that Halo 2 was going to work, you know,
Yeah.
because of backwards compatibility. And a couple other games that I had already were going to work. I just wanted the system, you know, I wanted something new. And I went to one of the famous LAN parties that we always played Halo 2 at, but I had my 360. And everyone was like, "Oh!" And the thing about it, Halo 2 actually ran in 720p widescreen,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the version on Xbox didn't.
Yeah.
And my friend had HD TV, and we hooked it up to
I
that.
have to
So
wonder if we were at the same LAN party when this happened because I really feel like it might have been. Because I
I
swear the
don't know,
story sounds so familiar. I
maybe,
don't know. But we'll figure that out another time. We don't want to go over that kind of detail on a
yeah,
YouTube video.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
I think honestly that it's a good time to cut this one,
I do
and
too. There's more stories
I
to tell, but we can save them for
yeah,
another
honestly,
time.
though, what I would like is for comments.
Right.
Definitely, I want to read some stories, and actually, what I think, what I'd like to do is we're gonna each pick the best one and see if we can't get them on a podcast, and we'll just talk about our experiences.
Right. That'd be cool.
I think that might be kind of awesome. So if anyone wants to, join in on the fun, write up your story, and we'll see if we can't get you on a Skype call or Google Hangouts or something.
Yeah. Right.